Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Wednesday. This is unusual for me to be live on a Wednesday afternoon with you, Carleen. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, so everyone knows me. I'm Nancy Quinn, interior design business coach and body language trainer, and I am here with Carleen Lamay of C2 Accounting. And I love this topic because interior design, business finances, this is the kind of thing that everyone likes to bury their head in the sand. And no, I'm not an interior designer. I will say I tend to do the same thing. So let's talk about the warning signs. So, Carleen, why do you think so many interior designers kind of avoid looking at their numbers, or as I would say, burying their head in the sand?
Yeah, and first of all, let's not be mean to interior designers because I think this is a general small business owner
I
thing.
said I'm in the same boat.
Right, yeah. Because no, unless you're me, right? Most small business owners didn't get into business to deal with their numbers or run reports. So,
Yes.
let's just give them some grace here. But I would say the reason interior designers and small business owners in general avoid looking at their numbers is because nothing feels urgent until it's a problem, right? You're
That's
busy,
true.
clients are happy, money's coming in, so it feels like everything is fine until it's not. And then you want to look at the numbers. But you and I both know it's better to look at them all the time because then you kind of understand the trends and you yourself as a business owner can start seeing where things look a little wonky.
Yes. All right. So what is the biggest misconception then about finances that designers have? First, they have to look at them, and then what are they telling themselves that is really just not true?
So, well, designers are running creative businesses. The numbers become this thing that you feel like you can get to later. And then when they look at it, they start to, of course, always look at um, the top line, right? Revenue equals success. 'Cause everyone wants to say, I have $1 million business, I have a $2 million business. But the thing is, especially for interior designers, because so much of that $1 million or $2 million is going to go right back out the door for cost of goods sold to actually buy the client's purchases, you have to
Yes.
really look at your profit. That's the biggest misconception is understanding profit. And then the second thing is cash, because as we know, profit and cash are two different things.
That is a big one.
And
Profit
that's a
and
big
cash are two different things,
are
and
two different
everyone
things.
gets very confused. I remember
Right.
one time, I don't know if you said it or Megan, my virtual CFO, said, your financial reports are for your accountant, not for you.
Oh, I did not say that, but that's not a bad thing to say. And I think that understanding how the financial reports read and what it all means, there's one report. So most of us are going to look at that profit and loss statement. Some people even look at their balance sheet, but the cash flow statement, which is one that a lot of people just gloss over, is actually a good one to look at. And here's why. It shows you where the cash went, so where it's coming from and where it went. So it helps you to understand, especially if you're if you're paying back loans, if you're paying back credit cards, if you're doing a lot of owner draws, because even if you made, let's say, $50,000 in January, but if you took out, say, $30,000 for owner's draws, you had $5,000 in credit cards to pay back, and you have your car payment that's, say, $700, well, your cash balance in the bank is going to look very different than that 50,000 that you made on paper. So understanding the cash is one of the biggest misconceptions I think that people have to overcome to get the cash as not profit.
Do you think that should be one of the first things they look at and start to try to understand, or is it something else?
I think when they start off, one of the first things to look at is like, did I actually make money this month? Right? Just understanding that part, like each month, did I actually make money? And then look at the cash. And I think by looking at it that way, because it helps to tie the two together. I think if
Mm,
you just look at the cash, because you can have a bad month. If you already have money in the bank, you can still have a bad month and you still have cash, and you will think that you're okay. So I think they really have to be in tandem.
yes.
And for interior designers, there's the other caveat: how much of that cash is yours? Because cash, if you're holding on to 100 grand in client money, then it's not really yours, and so you really need to understand what's yours and what's the client's. And that's profit first is a great way of doing that by having separate buckets, separate bank accounts for your business, right? Versus the client procurement funds, the funds you're going to use to actually buy things with.
So how do you explain profit and loss statement to an interior designer?
It's super simple, right? So you have income, money, that's your sales, revenue, what you build your client. That's and then you have cost of goods sold because it's going to be it's a three. Let's go back three parts: income, cost of goods sold, and then like your what we call operating expenses. So
Yes.
income, what you sold, cost of goods
Mhm.
sold, what it cost to sell those things, and that's what you're going to pay your purchases, your installers, your freight, your shipping, your receiver, all that stuff that costs money, the CAD drawers, like all the things that cost to deliver the service, and then you get that gross profit line, right? And then after that is everything else is called operating expenses. It's the money you're spending to actually run your business. And understanding how much it costs to keep the doors open is a really good thing to know because sometimes we spend way more than we should just to run the business. We just do. Some of us
Definitely.
have expensive taste. Some of us have a software habit that we need to break. But you know what? But by addressing it, then you know where you can make where you need to make changes. Because even I, as a business owner, sometimes have to step back and go, okay, what am I doing here?
Yes, I'm going through the same thing right now. I'm trying to figure out something happened with the screen and I can't figure out how to get it back. It's the weirdest thing on my side. You guys can't see it, thank God. But
Technology's been weird.
it's been so weird all day today and yesterday. All my technology is messing up. Um, Last question that I have is what's the first red flag that you feel a designer sees, feels, and is not paying attention to before they kind of stop and go, I better look at my numbers and look at my book, talk to my bookkeeper and find out like what my next.
I would say it's usually when the numbers don't match the feeling. Like I just got an email the other day from a client who was scheduling her financial review call. And when they're scheduling that financial review call, what happens is we send them an email asking them like, what do you want to go over so that we're prepared? And she one of the things that she said was that her P&L showed one number, but she felt like she made more. And so one of the things we're going to do on that call is understand one, why she feels that way, like where is she getting her numbers from? And two, let's look at what the books are saying and seeing where there's a disconnect. So I think a lot of times people when they start to see that the books just don't match that feeling, that gut feeling, then that's when they usually kind of raise their hand.
That makes perfect sense. I used to
Yeah,
say when I ran an art consulting firm, my own, I used to say, I feel the wave coming, but yet the numbers didn't reflect it yet, right? But I feel the
exactly.
wave, right? And then you
Right.
can totally feel the lack of a wave also coming
Mm.
on,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Right, exactly. Like, what are the warning signs that your business may not be doing as well as you think, or it's doing better than you think? Because I've also had the opposite. I've gotten on calls with clients who are like, oh my gosh, I don't think I'm doing great. And we look at the numbers, I'm like, you're running a really efficient business, one, and you are profitable. So then I go, are you paying estimated, income taxes? Because when I see big profit, I'm like, please pay taxes on a regular basis so that you don't get hit with a huge bill. But yeah, the
Yes,
warning signs is, cash is tight, profit is unclear, and we're, profit not just on the business level, but understanding profit on a client, on a project or client level. Your
yes,
expenses are starting to creep up, and you're not really sure why. Um, I've seen interior designers especially, how do I put this? As female business owners, a lot of times we're people pleasers, right? So we want to make everyone happy. And so sometimes we go bend over backwards and we don't stick to our own boundaries or what's in our contracts. And so we start offering things or doing things that we weren't really charging for. And those little things will really start to eat into the profit. And so even though the client's happy, you delivered, you closed out the project, but then when you look back, you realize the kind of all the nice things you were doing really did eat into your profit.
definitely, definitely. All right, all great tips. Anything else that we missed?
Let's take a look about where we talked about project profitability. We talked about cash versus revenue. We just touched on expense creep. And I will say it may be also inconsistent revenue. So if you've looked at a P&L for an interior designer, you know it's like this, right? As far as revenue is concerned, but also from profit, it's kind of like that because they may have this one month where they had $100,000 in sales, but they didn't start to buy furniture until the next month. So that first month, it looked like they made a ton of money. The next
Yes.
month, it looked like they had a loss. But understanding, especially for interior designers, looking at the trend and over a period of time, not just 1 month, because 1 month can be deceiving, especially
Yes.
when you've got a lot of money in 1 month and not spending anything that month.
Yes, definitely. Okay. Tell everyone what you can help them with and how to find you.
Yeah, so we're a bookkeeping firm. Like that was our focus. Our focus is just making sure that their books are correct and accurate.
Mhm.
And that's not just for the IRS, it's actually for them to eventually use that information to make better business decisions. So we're talking about QuickBooks, we're talking about making sure that your design software like Design Files or House Pro, that they're syncing correctly, that they're reconciled. We're making sure your sales taxes are taken care of, and that you understand where you stand at any given time and how your business is doing.
Definitely, as soon as a designer is making any type of money, I always say your first hire is a bookkeeper
Right. And
because
uh, it's such a small portion, but it's going to I think it's going to really reap benefits to a business owner from the beginning. They get help getting it set up, even if they take it over themselves, right? Just to understand how to set it up properly.
definitely learning QuickBooks can be confusing in the beginning, but once you kind of clear the way and clean it up and then give instruction, it's much easier for someone to do it themselves if they have to. But eventually, if they can hire you to do it, it's one less thing on their plate that they are not the expert on, right?
Exactly.
So let someone else do what they do best so you can stay in your lane. And of
Mm.
course, learning from the beginning is always better than having completely messed up books 5, 6, 7 years down the line, or even 2 years down the line, and getting you to clean it up, which you do as
Yes,
well. So if anyone is in
which
that
we do.
position, everyone can rely on Colleen's team to help them with that. We have a big delay on technology. Can you still hear me?
I can. There's a little bit of a lag, but I think you're good.
Okay, good. All right. So everyone go over to c2accounting.com and get a free appointment on Colleen's calendar where she can talk to you about what the status of your QuickBooks is or your bookkeeping and about the services she provides. She has different levels for different needs. And
Hmm.
I think that everyone I've referred to, which is all my clients, no one has ever had a complaint because you have a well-oiled machine, and that's what everybody needs.
Well, I appreciate that. And, if we can get people to walk away with anything today, is that, their numbers is not something they to fear. Like they're just a tool, right? And that the sooner they start using that tool, the more control they'll have over the business, but also the more comfortable they'll be. It's like any other muscle. The more you use it, the more you get used to it. It just makes it easier in the long term. And we're at c2-accounting.com.
c2-accounting.com. Go check it
Mm-hmm.
out. Get your appointment with Colleen, and we'll see you next time.
All
Thanks,
right. Thank
Colleen.
you. Have a good one. Bye bye.